Hello, gamers, and welcome to this Link to the Past randomizer match between Benny and DJ Crabhat. This is going to be a video commentary or a VOD rewatch commentary by myself, DDR Kirby ISQ. I'm going to be rewatching this match that happened as part of the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2025. This is a match from the week 3 of the Swiss pairings. So Benny and DJ Crabhat both sharing similar win-loss records and getting paired up to play this seed, which is going to be an open mode seed with randomized swords. So neither of our runners are going to start with a sword. I'm going to get these streams synced up for you here. All right, so it looks like both of our runners have chosen to start at different locations. So Benny choosing to go with a Sanctuary start and finds 3 bombs right away, whereas DJ Crabhat started at Link's house and found 50 rupees. Looks like DJ Crabhat is going to go ahead and lift this sign, trying to, I assume, throw it at this blue guard to get a tree pull. Looks like Benny is doing the same on his side, although they are going to use a different tree, of course. As we get into the beginning phases of this game, I want to mention that give a huge shout out to the mentors that were live coaching these racers as they played this match. So Benny was being coached by Warmasil, and DJ Crabhat's mentor is Coin Chaser. And we'll see if this early game divergence ends up having an effect on anything. Looks like DJ Crabhat actually finding the glove over here in Hyrule Castle Secret Passage. So once DJ Crabhat gets some bombs, which there are actually 3 bombs here in Sanctuary, I wonder if DJ Crabhat is going to make a play to just immediately go to the back escape. That is an option that is possible here. Looks like we got our map check, and it looks like I saw both Eastern Palace and Desert Palace are pendants today, so neither of those two going to necessarily be required, but we do have a required Tower of Hera. And it looks like Crabhat is going to go ahead and take a drop into the back of escape, so we'll see if there's anything good here. Definitely DJ Crabhat is going to be getting these items a lot earlier than Benny. Looks like we have the small key, some bombs, and just a piece of heart, so nothing super major. And yeah, it is with that small key, it is technically possible to go from the back to get to Dark Cross, but of course you would have to kill the key rat in the dark to do that, and given that you only have 5 bombs, definitely not something I would recommend. Alright, in the meantime, looks like Benny is going to start with their Kakariko checks. I apologize for those notification sounds. Hopefully we won't have any more of those for the rest of the stream. And looks like we've got our Moon Pearl already. So not going to be super relevant until we get our proper Dark World access. That is, of course, going to require either 2 gloves or a glove and a hammer. And DJ Crabhat going to show us what is on Lumberjack, what is in Lumberjack Cave today. This, of course, is an item that is not available unless you have the boots and have cleared Aga Tower. It looks like it's just some junk today, so Aga not going to be required to get that item, although we'll have to see whether Aghanim is required for our Dark World access. Since we already have that pearl, the pieces that are missing are either 2 gloves or a glove and a hammer. The only other elements that early Moon Pearl does have is it does let us get to a walking state if we come out of Waterfall Cave. So that does let us check 2 more items if we decide to do a fake flipper to the Zora area. We'll see if either of our runners elects to do that. I think a common way to figure that out is to go for it if you end up having the funds for Zora, so that of course is 500 rupees, and to skip out on it if not, but we'll see what our runners decide to do with that today. And we got the flute over here in Kakariko. That is going to make routing much easier for our runners in the early game, and going to speed up traversal overall. And yeah, Benny going to go ahead and activate that flute right away. That of course is going to let our runners, flute over to the dam, flute over to spot number 8 to get a quick check on Ice Rod Cave. Also makes getting to Agina a lot faster, so a lot of options when you get the flute early game in Kakariko. And of course, it also makes committing to some of these checks a little bit less committal, right? Because normally, when you're thinking about doing your South Fjord checks, you might be wondering if you should wait until you have enough money for Zora for a potential fake flipper. But since we have the flute, we can always flute to 8 whenever we want to set up a fake flipper. So with that flute on hand, a lot of our checks are going to be a little bit less committal. Benny is going to be the first one to show us race game and be done with the Kakariko Village checks. We'll see what he decides to do after this. I'm sure he's having a conversation with his mentor as they both finish out these CAC checks. Looks like Benny is going to adopt the strategy of instead of peeking to see what the item is on race game, they're just going to go ahead and bomb this wall and go for it without knowing what it is first. And if it is something important, you do end up gaining some time here. And if it's not something important, then it's you could lose some time if an opponent chose to just scout it instead and save and quit. But it looks like it is the lamp today, so that's something you definitely want to have, especially at this point in the game. Not necessarily an item that's required to finish the game, but I think this early on you kind of have to take it. All right, so Benny gonna go ahead and flute away to the dam. And we'll see what our South Fjord checks have in store for us today. And we'll see when Benny decides to go and do the Uncle and Secret Passage checks that we know Crab Hat has already done. Of course, that's where we found our glove. There's the flute for Crab Hat, and we'll see... I assume Benny is going to go right from here and attempt to mini Moldrum Cave, although... I say that, but Benny's actually only got 5 bombs on hand, so taking down the mini Moldrums actually would be quite difficult here. We could see what the bush crab is. I wasn't sure what the bush crab prize is. Okay, it looks like Benny's just going to go for it. Actually, a little bit surprised here. I would be a little bit scared to do this, because you need 1 bomb to open the doorway. You've only got 4 left. You can optimally do it in 3, but 4 is kind of just the bare minimum to really make this comfortable. Hopefully Benny can make each one of these bombs count. Okay, nice. That almost missed, but that was good. And that, okay, it looks like Benny has got this. Yeah, having that 1 bomb hit both of the mini Moldrums on the left is a great sign. So pretty much perfect by Benny. Gets that done with only 3 bombs, which is optimal. And that does mean that Benny is going to have 1 bomb left over to, check Ice Rod Cave or Agina. Okay, and as I say that, Benny... finds 3 more bombs in Mini Moldrum Cave. In the meantime, Crab Hat is choosing to be a little bit more conservative with this, so Crab Hat, thinking ahead to, having to clear Mini Moldrum Cave and perhaps not feeling as confident as Benny, and wanting to stock up on a few more bombs. That is, of course, going to cost DJ Crab Hat some additional time, but, it is nice that we have the flute on hand so that we can just flute out of there. Not sure if Crab Hat actually, yeah, it looks like Crab Hat actually chose to skip out on Library Legend Race Game. I hope that doesn't end up biting them in the butt later on, because, without that lamp, it's probably not going to be super relevant for the foreseeable future. But it does, give us logical access to Dark Cross. That could be relevant. Benny is using the lamp to logically do the old man rescue here. So we'll see DJ Crab Hat probably going to, gonna go grab these red rupees and probably gonna have a much less stressful time with Mini Moldrum Cave here. And in the meantime, Benny is going to give us our peek at Desert Ledge and Agina. Yeah, Agina, normally a check that's very common for runners to skip in the early game when they're doing their, South Light World checks. But with the flute on hand, it's, as I said, it's a lot easier to stomach because it does make that check a lot faster. Yeah, it looks like DJ Crab Hat missing that first bomb, actually, so probably a good idea that they did decide to go ahead and farm those extra bombs while they were in Kakariko. And hopefully, yeah, like I said, hopefully it doesn't end up penalizing them too much. Oh, they have to be really careful here. Only on half a heart. Okay, they managed to get through it okay. Yeah, death is not the end of the world here, because you have the flute, so it's not like you have to walk all the way from Link's house, but... yeah, definitely, if you can avoid any deaths, that's the good thing. Looks like Benny did an accidental flute. I wonder if they could be looking at turning in this mushroom that was in Mini Moldrum Cave? Yeah. Alright, so we get an early mushroom turn in here. We'll see if Benny elects to save scum the mushroom. That is a strategy you can do if you're considering, if you get the Cane of Samaria later on, you can potentially do a fake powder glitch. Okay, looks like the hammer is the Mushroom Turn-In prize, so definitely not going to want to save scum that. Going to want to keep that hammer. And so Benny is missing the glove from Uncle in Secret Passage, but it looks like they are probably headed there shortly. And DJ Crab Hat is about to grab their hammer. So it looks like both of our runners are going to have Dark World access pretty much one after another. Of course, we do still have some checks in the Light World that we could do. Looks like DJ Crab Hat is getting their map check right now. So we could, for example, clear out the 3 checks in Saha. We still have not touched the front of Escape. And I guess I missed it, but Benny, I guess, must have picked up the Fire Rod from Agina. So hopefully Crab Hat is going to be picking that up at some point. That's definitely going to be a required item today, almost assuredly. All right, there's the glove for Benny, and we'll see if Benny decides to walk out of here and do Front of Escape, which they are. So they're going to go ahead and do Front of Escape. I actually like this from Benny and Mormsil, like, in addition to just being here, so, if this is probably going to be your best chance to clear out the items in Front of Escape while you're right here next to them. We also have, of course, the lamp and the fire rod, so we can, of course, do Dark Cross, and it is in logic. Looks like DJ Crab Hat is double checking their map again. Definitely don't want to mark that wrong. Go into the wrong dungeon. First chest in Front of Escape here is just the map, and it's a pretty long map pause from Crab Hat. I wonder if something came up between him and his mentor. It looks like their timer's still going. Yeah, sometimes stuff comes up and you have to pause the game. It all happens. I think we've all been there. But hopefully they'll be resuming before too long. All right, looks like we're back. This could also be, taking a few seconds to just consider what to do now, because we do have Dark World access. We also have the option of going up on the mountain, and it looks like we actually found our mirror in Saha's closet. So yeah, definitely a lot of options. We could have gone up the mountain to do Tower of Hera, for example, but Hera's not necessarily clearable because we're missing a fire source on DJ Crab Hat's side, and yeah, it's interesting because they could have had a fire source if they had taken the time to go down to Race Game and pick up the lamp there. As is, they're probably going to end up getting it once they do Dig Game. You can mirror from the Dark World and get it that way. Looks like Benny's going to try and set up for a Death Warp after killing the Spell and Chain Guard. So it looks like they are interested in getting whatever is in Dark Cross. Oh, that's really unfortunate. They get a piece of heart there and get a full refill. It's actually not the end of the world, actually. That's actually works out a little bit better for Benny because we do know that Dark Cross is a guaranteed item because we already saw that the map was in the front, and we know that a small key is in one of the 3 chests here in the back. And getting to Dark Cross from the back of Escape is actually slightly faster if you have something to take down the key rat easily. And Benny, of course, does have Fire Rod, Lamp, and Hammer, so they should have no problems doing that. So actually kind of worked out for Benny, a little bit of a blessing in disguise. In the meantime, DJ Crab Hat, looks like we found the Bombless Medallion over there in Hype Cave. And Crab Hat going to be able to check Cave 45 here on the way to Kakariko, on the way to Dig Game and Stumpy. So I wonder, yeah, I think the next question is, does Benny, do Benny and Mormsil decide to just head straight into the Dark World, or are they going to stop by Saha's closet? Because looks like K45 did have our other glove today, so DJ Crab Hat having their Titan's mitts already. That's definitely a big deal. So yeah, this, oh, and the book here in Stumpy. Okay, this is a very interesting seed, wide open. You could see all the green squares on DJ Crab Hat's tracker already. A little bit overwhelming, actually. So let's see. Yeah, I'm wondering if Benny is going to go to Saha and decide to get their mirror out of Saha, or whether they're going to head straight to the Dark World. And if they head straight to the Dark World, this is going to work out to be quite a bit of divergence as Benny's going to be missing their mirror, so they won't have their mitts from K45. So they're going to have to pick that up later. And it looks like that is probably what's going to happen here. I don't think we've seen a Dark World map check, so we'll see if we get that from one of our runners. Hopefully DJ Crab Hat remembers to mirror here. Yeah, okay. Looks like they are going to switch to the mirror. And yeah, look to mirror here, because you can't mirror directly into race game. Looks like we got a pretty quick Dark World map check. I didn't see it, but it looks like, based on what we have marked so far, we've got crystals at Pod, Swamp Palace, and Skull Woods. And Crab Hat, yeah, I assume trying to find a good place to mirror, to check Library Ledge and Race Game. Hopefully that mirror portal's alright and they can get back into it. Alright. So DJ Crab Hat going to go ahead and scout this item. So unfortunately going to lose a little bit of time to Benny. I think actually the optimal way to scout this item if you're doing dig game is you can actually mirror on the stairs to dig game, and you end up getting a mirror bonk, which normally you don't want, but in this case that's the fastest way to scout that item. Okay, looks like after Hype Cave, Benny is choosing to go north here to Pyramid Ledge and potentially Catfish. So choosing to do that route instead of going left. So they're going to be missing out on their book for now. Okay, but yeah, this is going to work out pretty interestingly. So Crab Hat is going to be able to do, pick up the Smith if they want to, and do hammer pegs as well. Now, I guess an interesting question for Crab Hat is, they're probably, given that they're already here, assuming they can get back into their mirror portal, they can walk up and attempt to clear Thieves Town, which looks like is a crystal. Looks like our only Dark World pendant today is Misery Mire. So we do potentially have a full clearable Thieves Town, but that dungeon is a lot harder to take down the boss when you don't have a sword on hand. A lot of times we talk about how the blind fight, the boss fight of Thieves Town, is a potentially scriptable fight if you know how to do it correctly, but that's the normal blind script is only possible if you have a sword on hand, and so we only have the only weapon that we have that we can use to deal with damage to blind is the hammer today, and there are hammer strategies for blind that are relatively consistent, but I'm not sure, whether that's something that either of our mentees today will know how to do and have experience with, because it's not something that comes up super often. Okay, but DJ Crab Hat is deciding to do both hammer pegs and the Smith turn in. Meanwhile, Benny is going to show us what is on Catfish today. This is an often overlooked check since it's way off in the corner of the Dark World, so if this is something big like the boots, it could be a really big swing in this race, but it looks like it's just a red rupee. Okay, and nothing on the Smith turn-in, looks like, unless I missed something. And DJ Crab Hat actually going to... Okay, actually, yeah, I like this, because we have the flute, so we can actually turn in... We can mirror, and we can turn in the purple chest, and we can just mirror back to Kakariko and use the mirror portal that we're doing right here. So some nice heads-up thinking from DJ Crab Hat and Coin Chaser. I think Benny is going to give us our first look at Ice Rod Cave. A little bit surprising that neither of our runners have done this yet, given that it's never really going to get any faster, provided that we already have the flute on hand. And Ice Rod Cave, just another red rupee. Alright, DJ Crab Hat, having done C-shaped house, and of course you can't bring the purple chest into Thieves Town, so gonna be taking this opportunity to go turn in the purple chest and then flute back, I assume. In the meantime, looks like Benny is going to set up for this fake flipper. So using the screen transition to jump in the water and start swimming, even though Benny does not have access to the flippers, of course. And there's the hookshot on purple chest, so this seed is actually working out really great for Crab Hat and Coin Chaser. Having those mitts, the mirror, and yeah, I'm a little bit worried for Benny and Wormsil because they really need to get to Saha to unlock all of these major progression items that Crab Hat has access to, right? Saha had the mirror led to the mitts in K45, and the mitts gave us access to purple chests where we are going to hopefully pick up our hookshot before too long on Benny's side, but we'll see when they elect to go to Saha and start that whole chain of checks. So with the hook shot on Crab Hat's side, I'm almost wondering, yeah, since okay, it looks like Benny is being coached on how to do this this particular fake flipper setup. Looks like they got it successfully. Awesome. Yeah, so with like the hook shot and all of these other possibilities open on Crab Hat's side, I'm almost wondering if they are just going to say no to Thieves Town for now, given that it is kind of a difficult fight with just the hammer. Yeah, it looks like they're mirroring, so I imagine they're going to flute away. And again, since we have our mirror portal right there, you know, they can do some light world checks and then come back if they elect for it. But it looks like they are going to head into the Mire portal, so it looks like we're not going to use that particular strategy, but I like this. This is pretty non-committal. Check the Mire medallion as well, even though since Mire is a pendant dungeon, we kind of hope that we never have to step foot in there, but... Right, so Benny showing us our checks in Waterfall Fairy. Looks like nothing of relevance there. And I believe the medallion from Misery Mire was Ether, if I saw correctly. Yeah, it's Ether, so no access there. Not that we'd be interested in stepping foot in there anyways, since we have so many other efficient sequences available to us. We have, you know, full clerical dungeons as well. We have basically everything on the mountain, minus, you know, Turtle Rock. Ooh, Benny gets sniped by that that fireball from one of those enemies. The good thing they were on the middle of shallow water, because if you get sniped by one of those fireballs when you're, you know, water walking over deep water, you can actually get soft lock there. Right, so Crab Hat gonna step into Desert Palace. Now there is a risk that Desert Palace is boots locked, and that could be a little bit of a, you know, of a time loss here if you can't actually get anything here. And Desert is also a pendant dungeon, so Crab Hat, I guess, choosing to just be, you know, efficient with their time, since they already chose to flute here to Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave, and I'm assuming they're going to check Agina as well, which has our Fire Rod, I believe. Yeah, I guess the question for Benny is going to be, yeah, how do they... Unfortunately, they're still electing to stay away from Saha, so that's going to be a little bit longer until they find their mirror and their mitts and their hook shot and they get all that started. Hopefully they're going to get funneled into that before too long. I don't see a way that they can avoid all that and be chased into some other direction. Yeah, no matter what we find here, I guess the biggest item that would unlock more additional checks for them would be the bow, because we'll let them do Pod and Eastern. But I think, you know, we have to do Pod at some point, so that's not the end of the world. Yeah, so I'm actually not too worried about Benny. I think the main thing is just like Crab Hat was just able to do things a little bit more efficiently, you know, being able to do a single trip to Village of Outcasts and get, you know, get purple chests, smith, turn in, and hammer pegs out of the way at the same time. And I guess I kind of spoke into existence, but there's the bow for Benny, so yeah, we might see Benny do Palace of Darkness as their next big play. Okay, Crab Hat is done with the front of Desert Palace. Looks like they found only one item in there, as well as a big key, so not finding that much out of Desert Palace, right? No progression. Benny is going to do this drop down into Skull Woods. There is a small risk that you soft lock here, but it is relatively small, and it looks like they did find a key, so no soft lock for us today. And I imagine, yeah, so Crab Hat is going to grab their Fire Rod out of Agina here. And for Crab Hat, I'm assuming... Oh, it looks like we found the Cane of Samaria. Was that the item in Desert Palace? Okay, that could actually be really interesting. So I guess Crab Hat has basically probably... I'm assuming they're going to be tempted to just do all the checks on the mountain, right? They have everything, including a clearable Tower of Hera that they can use the hookshot to make faster. So I have to imagine that's going to be the play here, unless they feel really confident in doing Thieves Town. Okay, but Benny looks like they only found one item of Skull Woods here. It looks like, despite the fact that, you know, well, I guess we can't actually, we cannot actually clear Skull Woods given that we don't have a sword. So, yeah, I'm feeling better and better about Crab Hat's position here because, you know, they're going up the mountain now. They have access to pretty much everything on the mountain. I have to imagine there's going to be a sword somewhere here. And that means, you know, when they go over to Skullwoods, not only are they going to be able to grab their bow that Benny has, but they're also going to be able to grab their crystal from, you know, defeating Moth at the end of the dungeon. Of course, I guess there's no guarantee that there's a sword on the mountain, but I have to imagine that, you know, given all of the checks that we have here, you know, there's four swords that are placed in the seed somewhere, so I have to imagine one of them is going to show up. I guess I say that, but, you know, I have seen seeds where we have, like, you know, like 3 swords on Laser Bridge and TR or something trolly like that, so I guess it's never something you know for sure. A little bit unfortunate, you know, DJ Crab Hat getting blocked by that dead rock, having to scroll it off screen. Or, okay, I guess they just decided that they're going to just go ahead and clear Tower of Hera first. Actually, I think this is a perfectly fine decision. I think ideally you do like Tower of Hera into Spike Cave, but, you know, we don't have the ability to clear Spike Cave right now. We don't have any invincibility items. We don't even have a bottle in case we wanted to use a fairy for that. So Spike Cave is not really concerned. So I think doing Tower of Hera first and Ether Tablet makes perfect sense. And then you can do everything on the right side of Death Mountain afterwards. Okay, and Benny, in the meantime... Oh, it looked like Cane of Somaria was not in Desert Palace, it was actually at Abominable Shack, so my mistake for that one. A little bit hard to keep track of both runners as they're doing so many checks, actually, efficiently. I think it's because we've had access to a lot of efficient overworld checks so far, and neither runner actually having finished a dungeon yet, and it looks like Benny is going to be the first to attempt to, you know, clear a dungeon here in Thieves Town. Now, like I said, this is going to be harder than usual because we don't have access to a sword unless we find one along the way. And, you know, that blind fight it's not a joke if you only have the hammer. We do have the Cane of Somaria now, so that is another tool that you can use for the blind fight. You know, you can... Even if you are using the hammer for your main hits, you can, of course, lay a Somaria block down and kind of have blind rise up into the Somaria block for some, you know, free hits while you dodge around. Looks like we're going to get a Hera pot set up from DJ Crab Hat. Looks like it went a little bit off, and unfortunately that was our last bomb here. So I wonder... Okay, DJ Crab Hat. And it looks like the big key is in the basement here. Ooh. This could end up working okay. I will say there is a bomb available in Tower of Hera if you climb up to the 2nd floor. Okay, Benny... Oh, okay, so Benny's actually not committing to trying to defeat blind. They just wanted to check the first 4 items in Thieves Town, so... I respect this. You know, if you're not sure that you can finish the boss of the dungeon, it's better to just come back later when you're sure, rather than like taking a death. Looks like we did find our Ice Rod in the first 4 checks of Thieves Town. And I imagine after doing Dig Game and Stumpy, well, I guess Benny's gonna have the book, so maybe they'll chase after that into Desert Palace, but hopefully before too long they'll go to Saha, although, you know, they do have, I guess they do have, it could work out a little bit interestingly because they do, you know, of course have a full clearable Palace of Darkness as well, so they could just elect to do that first. But yeah, DJ Crab Hat gonna be getting their vanilla, or yeah, gonna be getting their big key out of Hera basement here. And like I said, I will say there is a bomb available in Tower of Hera if you just climb up the right set of stairs underneath one of the pots. There is a bomb here, so you know, theoretically Crab Hat could have skipped the basement if they had just walked up here, grabbed the bomb. Then fallen down again, and then done the Hera pot glitch. Now, of course, having that big key on hand is not nothing. You know, they will be able to open the big chest when, you know, with my proposed strategy, they wouldn't be able to. So if there is an item in the big chest, that is something that they are going to be able to get along the way here. Okay, what's going to be the choice for Benny? Is it going to be Saha, or is it going to be Palace of Darkness? Looks like. Okay, actually, it's going to be Palace of Darkness. I think in my position, actually, I would have probably just dove into Palace of Darkness, given that it's a full clearable crystal, but this is actually going to work out well for Benny because, yeah, they're going to get their mirror, and of course, having the mirror to route Palace of Darkness does make it a faster dungeon overall. Alright, so DJ Crab Hat going to show us what is in the big chest here by doing the drop down. And if this is an item, I think they're probably feeling pretty good. Unfortunately, it's just the map, which means assuming Benny and Wormless will get here with, you know, enough bombs, and the hook shot on hand to do the Harapot, there Benny is going to gain a bit of time, when they go ahead and clear this dungeon. That is, yeah, because they're probably going to do the Harapot glitch. They're probably going to go up to Moldorm, and they're probably going to realize that the big chest is nothing, since it's just a map. So a little bit unfortunate for Crab Hat, the way that this worked out for this particular dungeon, but, I will say that their route is still working out nicely, still working out more nicely, given that they got that mirror so much earlier. Oh, an unfortunate fall against Moldorm there, though. Okay, so continuing to have more divergence here as Benny goes ahead and, as expected, is going to go ahead and clear Palace of Darkness. Palace of Darkness, a dungeon that that is not really near anything else besides Eastern Palace. Oh no, another fall against Moldorm. I feel like with fighting Moldorm, you kind of just have these on days and off days. Like usually, the fight is fine, and then every once in a while you just get a day when Moldorm is just really deciding to be a real nuisance against you. But hopefully DJ Crab Hat can clean this fight up on the third go around. Just have to be a little bit patient with Moldorm's AI pattern. Yeah, I can see that they're definitely trying to be very mindful of the movement. Nice, gets a second hit there. Just one more. Oh, that was very close. Okay, patience, Crab Hat. Nice. Okay, that was very good. Whew. All right, and yeah, Benny gonna be showing us the checks and pod here. Of course, most of the chests in the front of Palace of Darkness are gonna be small keys, so we're not really gonna find the progression items here, if there are any, until later on. And let's see, I guess to recount, what is... it's hard to sum up what is different between these runners because they've done such different things. So Benny has found the bow out of Skull Woods. We still don't have our sword. I have to imagine that once we get all these checks done on the right side of the mountain, Crab Hat is probably going to get a sword, and if they do get a sword, then they are going to be able to full clear Skull Woods, so they might head on over there, defeat Moth, grab their bow, and then go and chase after Benny and clear Palace of Darkness, as Benny is doing right now. So what are we missing between our two runners? I guess we have the Ether Medallion. Oh yeah, I believe actually Ether Medallion was in Desert Palace. That was the one item that we got from Desert Palace. So that's why Crab Hat has the Ether Medallion, but Benny doesn't. Probably not necessarily going to be relevant, given that we have so many other checks available to us, but we'll have to see. So I guess we're missing, what are the big ticket items that we're missing? We're missing the slippers, right? To give us access into Swamp Palace. But we can already clear, if we want to sequence break, we can clear Ice Palace. So it's really just the flippers, and then I guess we still are TBD on the, the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock. Looks like a little bit of indecision on Benny's side. I wonder... So they've already done the Bowlock side. I wonder if they're just deciding what to do since they don't have... Yeah, so they don't have the big key. I believe they've opened all the chests here, so I believe the big key must be in the back here. I guess we'll see. Right, but Crab Hat gonna start opening all of these chests over here in Paradox Cave. And there's the sword, just like I said. So yeah, like I said, I think this is going to work out really nicely for Crab Hat. They're going to be able to clear all of Skull Woods in one go. Looks like Crab Hat is setting up for a nice bomb jump setup here in Paradox Cave. Probably one of the easier bomb jumps to learn if you kind of know the trick in setting it up using the corner of that pit there. It's actually pretty forgiving. And there is the big key for Palace of Darkness on Benny's side, and the powder. It's a little bit of an interesting item, so it does mean... If something relevant is on Magic Bat, that could be interesting because, Crab Hat has already done most everything else, in terms of Smith. They've already done the Smith turn-in, they've already done Hammer Pegs, and they've already done the Purple Chest turn-in, so I guess they could do Magic Bat after Thieves Town. But I guess more likely than not, Magic Bat is not going to be anything specific, but right. Crab Hat is going to be figuring out what the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock is, and it is Bombos. So Crab Hat already, assuming they're going to go, clear out Thieves Town at some point and find their Ice Rod, they're already basically 2 items from Go Mode, and that being, the Flippers and another sword. Assuming that they're also going to find their bow from Skullwoods at some point. So I'm really liking where Crab Hat is at on this one. On the other hand, Benny and Wormasil, so after they finish Pod, they're going to have to, at some point they're going to have to get to K45, which is a little bit unfortunate since it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I have to imagine that given what their map looks like right now, they're probably going to go up to the mountain first, which is not a bad thing. They are going to find their sword there, which is going to let them clear Thieves Town and Skullwoods. Oh, really unfortunate with that Samaria block there. I feel like if Crab Hat finds the Flippers, and they found 2 swords here. Okay, so they already went from. We have 3 swords on the mountain. Is that what I'm seeing here? So Crab Hat feeling much more comfy here. We've already got 3 swords and red mail. Living life good on Crab Hat's side. There's a Quake Medallion, although it's not really relevant given that we already know the Bombos Medallion is for Turtle Rock and the Ether Medallion is for Misery Mire. I guess... Yeah, so Crab Hat just has to go and clear Crystal Dungeons. They're going to find their Ice Rod and their bow along the way. And since they're going to be in... They're basically going to... I assume they're going to basically end up in Flipper's Go Mode, which basically means they can also go guaranteed Go Mode Ice Palace. So that's going to be great. So I guess the real question is, if you're Benny and Wormasil, after Palace of Darkness, you probably go up the mountain, given, especially given that they already said no to trying to clear Thieves Town with this equipment, so they're probably going to continue to stay away from that. Ooh, some nice bomb strats here on Benny's side. Each bomb is if each bomb that hits is going to actually do the equivalent of 4 hammer hits of damage worth to Helmasaur's Mask. And looks like finishing out phase 1 with the hammer. So let's see. After doing Hera and the rest of the mountain, Benny and Wormasil are gonna. Oh, they need to be a little bit careful with this fight. They don't have any health backups here. Oh god! Oh, no! That's a really costly death for Benny there. Yeah, it was just a really tight situation with that tail swing coming as well as the fireballs there. I don't think there's anything you can really do. And DJ Crab Hat is just, going to take their newfound equipment to the bank. They're going to do Skullwoods, they're going to do Thieves Town, and I assume they're going to find their bow and their Ice Rod. And they're just going to be looking for the Flippers. In the meantime, Benny really has some catch-up to do as far as all this goes. I think this race is really going to come down to where the Flippers are, which could be anywhere besides... we've already seen the Zorachex, of course, which it can't be in Ice Palace either. And obviously it can't be in Swamp Palace, but they can basically be anywhere else. I don't think any of the items that we have so far were locked by the Flippers, so could kind of be anywhere. It could even potentially be on Pedestal. Be pretty interesting. Trying to think if there's any checks that are particularly awkward for DJ Crab Hat and Coin Chaser to get to. Let's see, we've already seen the front of escape from Benny. Yeah, I can't really think of anything. I guess maybe like Graveyard Ledge and Catfish. Bombos, you know what? Bombos Tablet could be an interesting one. That's pretty isolated for Crab Hat here. Okay. Rematch of Benny versus Helmasaur. Hopefully they can manage to be a little bit more careful here this time and not take as much damage. I do have to wonder whether the death on this fight was actually due to Benny not having a sword here. A lot of runners are used to having a sword for this fight. You know, holding your sword out northward does make the hammer hits a little bit easier to land, as you can land them from further away. So I wonder if that contributed to the loss of health in this fight here. Okay, it looks like Helmasaur behaving for phase 2 here, and just stays in place. Nicely done. And, you know, Crab Hat over here is going to be, you know, heading into the Mothula fight, but given that they have... I guess they're not completely out of the woods, but given that they have Tempered Sword as well as Red Mail, I'm not too worried for them. It looks like they've also got a red potion on deck, so yeah, I'm sure they can take down this fight. Oh, but unfortunately gets grabbed by that Wallmaster. Gonna have to do that section of the dungeon again. And in the meantime, Benny heads into Eastern Palace. Okay. So I think in a vacuum, I kind of have to say I don't like this because, you know, we do have a clearable crystal in Hera, we have a lot of density on the mountain, and of course that's where a sword is, which is going to allow us to clear Thieves Town and Skull Woods. But on the other hand, if the flippers are here in Eastern Palace, that's something that DJ Crab Hat is gonna not get to for a long time, I have to imagine, right? Because they're gonna be doing Palace of Darkness. I guess maybe they could. Oh no! Gets grabbed by a Wallmaster again. This Wallmaster is the bane of Crab Hat's existence right now. And the boots are in Eastern Palace. Oh, that is huge. Especially given that the boots are not required for Desert Palace here. That could be something that DJ Crab Hat just never gets at all in his seed. So that just made things really interesting. A little bit awkward for Benny, given that they're dashing around without a sword on hand. Okay, but Crab Hat is gonna take their third attempt through getting to Mothula. Hopefully they manage to stay free of the Wallmaster this time. Have to wonder... Oh no, Crab Hat getting Bunny Beamed again. Okay, hopefully they can stay safe from the Wallmaster this time. Okay, looks like we're good. It's hard to exactly evaluate. Well, like, assuming the only thing in Eastern Palace here are just the boots, it's hard to evaluate exactly, you know, how much time that's worth, how much time that's not worth. It'd be ideal for Benny and Warmasil if the last item was just here in the Vanilla Big Key chest rather than Armos Knights, because then it would be less of a time investment to come in here. If they have to go all the way to Armos Knights, that would be a little bit more of a time sink. Oh, it looks like it was Vanilla Big Key. Okay, so if it's in the big key, if it's in the big chest, the last item, then that's pretty good. Given that I don't think you'd be concerned about pet here. Looks like DJ Crab Hat still hasn't done. Okay, nice. That's. Oh, I was gonna say that was really good for Benny, given that they could just leave, but it looks like they're actually electing to take the time to get the pendant here from Armos Knights. This is not what I expected, given that, you know, Benny and Warmasil's side, they still have all of Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, Tower of Hera as a full clearable crystal. Yes, I wonder if they are. I mean, they don't. It's always hard to tell in a race, you know, exactly what's going on the opponent's side, especially because Benny has no idea that, you know, they've been missing their mitts in Cave 45, which leads to the hookshot in on Purple Chest. Like, they don't have any idea where any of that stuff is. But if they knew, for example, that they were, you know, behind in this race, you know, going for something being on Ped, which I guess would have to be the flippers at this point, is something that could really pay off on the off chance that the flippers are on Ped. Okay, Benny gonna try and set up for a quick kill on Armos Knights. Looks like a little bit off on the setup here. And there's the bow for DJ Crab Hat, so that is going to be the other item out of Skull Woods. And I guess... Oh, I just got told by someone watching this recording that it looks like we already got a pedestal check, so it looks like... it sounds like the Magic Cape was on pedestal, and I guess we're about to see if the Magic Cape leads to anything on Crab Hat's side. It's just 10 arrows. Okay, so... Unfortunately, given that it was the Magic Cape on pedestal, that time investment for killing Armos Knights and getting that pendant not going to be paying off for Benny. But like I said, there is a good possibility that Crab Hat goes for the entire seed without those boots, and if the flippers are in a boot slot location like Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb or even, something in Desert Palace, that could be really interesting. Okay, but it looks like Benny is not gonna stay on the mountain? Okay, I heard another flute sound. I was a little bit confused. Okay, well, it looks like they were just kind of quick swap to the hammer. So Benny is gonna be clearing out the mountain here. They're still missing their mitts from Cave 45, unfortunately, but hopefully they'll be able to get that after they clear out Thieves Town, I guess. And yeah, DJ Crab Hat is basically just needs to find their flippers here. And of course they have a full clearable Ice Palace that they can do whenever they want, but they know the flippers aren't there. They still have to do Thieves Town, which of course we've already seen the front of on Benny's side. I have to imagine you see red. Okay, it looks like just a bottle on Ether Tablet, which is, yeah, that's the red potion that Crab Hat already got on the first go around of the mountain. And Benny gonna be stepping in here and unfortunately set foot on the mountain before getting their hook shot. So I said before that this was a potential opportunity for Benny and Wormwhistle to gain some time on DJ Crab Hat, given that Crab Hat ran out of bombs and was not able to do the Hera Pot glitch, but doesn't seem like that's the case because Benny is going to have to do Hera the vanilla way if they want to clear it here. Because the big key is going to be in the basement. Looks like they're trying to set up for Hera Pot glitch, but yeah, as they open their menu, they're going to remember, oh right, we don't have the hook shot. Okay. But Crab Hat is going to be the first to show us what the two items in the back of Thieves Town are. And if the flipper's there, then I have to imagine that this race is just going to be kind of in the bag for Crab Hat, right? They're missing their boots, but that's not really that big of a deal if they're just going to already be in go mode, unless unless the big key is on the torch in Ganon's tower. It's a pretty low chance, less than 5%, but it is something that can happen, and that would certainly make this race a much more interesting one. Because I think as is, I have to imagine that regardless of where the flippers are, I feel like Crab Hat is probably going to get to them faster, given that they're just going to be able to be more. They've just been more efficient with all their checks, right? Having had access to those big ticket items, having had access to the mitts and the hookshot for all this time, and being able to do all of the mountain in one go, doing all of Thieves Town in one go because they had the swords from the mountain. They lost some time in Skull Woods, perhaps, due to being grabbed by the Wallmaster 3 times, but I'm still liking where Crab Hat and Coin Chaser are at for this race. And we also have the full clearable, sorry, not Thieves Town. We have a full clearable Turtle Rock. So if our flippers are not in the back of Thieves Town here, I have to imagine Turtle Rock is the next step. Trying to think what else we haven't seen that Benny could get to before Crab Hat. I guess it's mostly just the checks in Desert Palace, right? Yeah, so that would be the most interesting thing. We've already seen I think the Ether Medallion was already found in Desert Palace, but there is an additional item there that we haven't seen. Okay, Benny gonna theoretically be able to gain some time on this Moldorm fight as well, given that Crab Hat did have a couple falls here. Looks like that is 2 out of 3 of the hits we need, and as I say that, they were looking good, but then Moldorm just decides to do the worst possible thing. So both runners kind of getting screwed over by Moldorm today. If you're enjoying watching this race so far, I highly encourage you to go give both these runners a follow on Twitch. I will have the link to their Twitch channels in the description of this video. And let's wish Benny luck on this Moldorm refight. Okay, that's 2 out of 3 hits. Just needs one more. And nice patience, waiting for Moldorm's AI to charge in a straight line to get that last hit in. Okay. We've got 2 crystals apiece, I believe, right? Crab Hat having cleared Hera and Skull Woods, and Benny having cleared Palace of Darkness and now Tower of Hera. Alright, and Benny is gonna get, I believe, 1 sword here from Paradox Cave. Unfortunately, not gonna have access to Hookshot Cave or Super Bunny Cave. And Crab Hat entering their fight with Blind. Not super worried here, given that, again, they have access to Red Mail, as well as a Red Potion if things really get dicey. And yeah, a little bit awkward to do Spiral Cave here on Benny's side without a sword on hand. Usually you just dash through these mini Moldorms, but of course you can't do that if you don't have a sword. And Crab Hat gets the fight done with Blind, so that is going to be crystal number 3 for Crab Hat. Just the Mirror Shield. That will, of course, make checking the items on Laser Bridge in Turtle Rock a little bit easier. Okay, Benny... Oh, okay, I was going to say Benny needs to be a little bit careful. Those Tektites do 2 hearts of damage, but I guess once you get to Paradox Cave, you're fine, given that there are a couple hearts here. Alright, so Crab Hat is either going to go, I guess, to Palace of Darkness or Turtle Rock here. It looks like it's going to be Palace of Darkness. I think this makes sense. If you can, you might as well put off Turtle Rock, because there's a potential that you get to do Turtle Rock into Ganon's Tower, which always feels nice. Okay, Benny needs to be a little bit careful here against these mini Moldorms. Yes. Unfortunately, the lack of sword really... Yeah, really not making things easy. Okay, manages to clean it up using the block from the Cane of Samaria, though. And finally, I believe once they open the top right chest, I believe it was, they're going to be finally rewarded with their sword here. There we are. Probably a very welcome sight for Benny there. And yeah, so Crab Hat gonna go ahead and, I assume, full clear everything in Palace of Darkness, and is Benny feeling up for taking down Skull Woods and Thieves Town with that sword on hand? Looks like they are. Believe we can also do a Sick Kid check on Benny's side, which I think we've already seen on Crab Hat's side. Looks like they... Ooh. Fluting again? Is this... Oh, okay, this makes sense. Grabbing a potion before these upcoming boss fights, definitely not a bad idea. So I guess the question for Benny here is, do you do Thieves Town first or Skull Woods first? I think I hope for them, for their sake, that they are going to do Skull Woods first, because that lets them route over to Thieves Town and then get to Cave 45 after that. Because I just worry if they do Thieves Town first, they're going to do Skull Woods second, and then from there they might... I guess they're probably going to get to Cave 45 after that, but it's not a guarantee. They could do Cave 45 into, Pyramid Fairy into Catfish. That is a possibility. They could also, go diving into Desert Palace, and that we already know that Desert Palace is Not required unless, I guess, unless the flippers are in Misery Mire. Because I think the Ether Medallion, yeah, was in Desert Palace, so... Yeah, where are these flippers? I think if I were a betting man, I would guess that the flippers are going to show up in Turtle Rock. I feel like I've seen flippers and the flute show up in Turtle Rock more times than I can... More times than not, I guess, but maybe that's just confirmation bias. Okay, so Benny is going to be doing Skullwoods first before Thieves Town. I do like this because after Thieves Town, they're going to be, you know, pretty close. I guess they can also do Magic Bat, which we have not seen from Crab Hat's side, given that we don't have access to the powder. So that could potentially be a spicy location for the flippers as well. I guess the powder was in... It was here in Palace of Darkness, I believe? Or was it in Eastern? No, I don't think it was Eastern. The boots were in Eastern. Alright, hopefully Benny can have a little bit better luck navigating to Mothula without any unfortunate Wallmaster grabs. A little bit low on magic, but of course they do have a blue potion on hand, so definitely wise of them to stock up on that before coming here. And unfortunately, yeah, they're only gonna have access to Fighter Sword and Blue Mail here. So let's see how they do with this Mothula fight. Looks like we're electing for some hammer strats. That is going to be the fastest way to take down Moth, as long as you can manage to work with the hammer hitbox, and assuming Mothula does cooperate here, which so far not super cooperative. Okay, this is a pretty good opportunity to get some hits in, but Benny already down to 5 hearts. Needs to be a little bit careful. Thank goodness they're not on green mail. That would be terrible. Okay, they could still take 1 hit. They're going to chug their blue potion just for safety. I definitely approve of that. Let's them use the Fire Rod as well, since Moth is just kind of hanging on the top of the screen. Of course, each Fire Rod hit only going to do half the damage of a hammer hit, but definitely much easier to use. And nice job on Benny's Mothula fight. So Benny already having done the front of Skullwoods, that is, you know, the other remaining item of Skullwoods for them. So I wonder if they're going to walk back through Skullwoods to get to Thieves Town, or whether they're going to mirror here. I believe it should be faster to mirror here. This could also be a pet check. Yeah, okay. This makes sense as well. You're already in the area, this is the closer you're ever going to be. And yeah, confirming that the cape was on Ped. And Benny, of course, already having checked that. So we know on Benny, or at least on Benny's side, they know that they don't need to do Ped. A little bit unfortunate, given, of course, that they spent the time investment to do Armless Knights, but... Okay, and Benny electing to walk out of here. I do believe it is slightly faster if you're trying to go to Thieves Town to mirror and then use your hammer to take the Darkwood portal again, rather than walking through Skullwoods. All right, nice arrow shot by DJ Crabhat to hit that crystal switch here. It looks like they're going to make their way towards Helmasaur. Probably going to be gaining some time on Benny, given that Benny had a death against Helmasaur, right? Not having a sword on hand, but, you know, Crabhat going to have access to the Tempered Sword. Looks like Benny is going to give us effects of Graveyard Ledge, which we have already seen from Crabhat's side, but also going to give us a check of King's Tomb, presumably, which we have not seen, since, of course, the boots are in Eastern Palace, which Crabhat has not been to. So, are the flippers going to be at King's Tomb? Let's see, once we have the flippers... Yeah, if Benny just, like, happens to score the flippers here, or... I actually really like how it works out for them, because then once they find their mitts and their hookshot, they're just golden. Okay, it was blue, but not the flippers, just some bombs. unfortunately, we're kind of running low on great locations for the flippers to be for Benny. I think Magic Bat is probably the best one at this point, given that Crab Hat kind of has Magic Bat isolated. They did find their Magic Powder, but you know they've already done all of Thieves Town and all of Smith Chain, so they could be elected. They could be very tempted to leave behind Magic Bat and not do that check. Looks like Benny is taking this time to scout out the item on Lumberjack Cave. And yeah, Crab Hat having a much easier time with this fight, given that they've got a sword. I wonder if that was actually part of the reasoning behind using some bomb strats against Helmasaur on Benny's side, or whether they just do that regardless. Gonna be 4 slashes for Crab Hat to take down phase 2 of Helmasaur. And yeah, getting hit a few times, but again, Crab Hat has access to red mail, so no real danger. Okay, Benny jumping back into the Dark World. They're going to be doing Thieves Town. I kind of just want to see it to make things really interesting. I kind of want to just see Flippers on Magic Bat, and then Benny just moving on to find, you know, the Mitts at K45, and then using that to backtrack and do Smith Chain into Purple Chest and get the hookshot from there. I guess one other location we haven't seen is we have not seen Pyramid Fairy. That's a little bit less appealing for Benny, given that they've already checked Pyramid Ledge, so they can't really combo it with that. They also can't combo it with Front of Escape. But yeah, Pyramid Fairy might be looking a little bit more interesting for DJ Crab Hat, who is going into Eastern Palace, so they're actually going to get their boots. I'm a little bit surprised, given that we have access to a full clip of Turtle Rock, but maybe either Crab Hat and Coin Chaser just have a spidey sense and they know something important is in here, or they just want to put off TR, given that they you can potentially save an additional trip up the mountain. Hopefully it's not just that their trackers marked off wrong, given that they have... I do see their tracker has Misery Mire marked off as both Bombos and Ether Medallion. So hopefully it's not that. But they are gonna... so they are now with their Pegasus boots. So I guess Ganon's Tower, Big Key on the Torch is a non-issue now. And yeah, I'm conflicted. I kind of like this for Benny, given that DJ Crab Hat is investing the same amount of time into Eastern Palace that Benny did. Looks like they're getting ready to mirror, actually, given... Okay, so DJ Crab Hat actually going to continue and get the vanilla Big Key. I wonder if they're gonna do their... I think both runners have already checked Ped, though, so I think DJ Crab Hat... they know that the cape is on Ped. I don't know if they've checked Bumper Cave, but they might be incentivized to leave behind the pendant here, whereas Benny, spent that time killing Armless Knights. Now, I will say, it's a little bit difficult to estimate exactly, how much benefit, because when we're looking at this clear of Thieves Town, Benny is gaining time over DJ Crab Hat, who had to do this dungeon without access to the boots, right? So there is time being gained here. The question is just is it enough to make up for everything else? And yeah, I hate these jellies on the conveyor belts. And it looks like Crab Hat is saying no to Armless Knights, so going to be able to save a good bit of time there. And where is Crab Hat going to go to next? Is it time for Turtle Rock now? Given that, no, it's time for Ice Palace. Wait, no, it can't be time for Ice Palace, given that the flippers can't be there. I mean, you can clear it whenever you want, I guess, if you just fake flipper. There's no harm in doing that, but looks like this Ice Rod Cave, pretty late check for Ice Rod Cave. But definitely now. Actually, I like this because now that we have the boots, you could potentially water walk out of Ice Rod Cave. Although we already checked. Yeah, we could. Okay, I was gonna go on this whole spiel about how you could do Ice Rod Cave and then set up a water walk using the boots, and that would be the most efficient way to check the Zora items. But actually, that doesn't make any sense because the only relevant item in Zora's domain is Zora himself, because obviously the flippers can't be anywhere else. Okay, but that is Thieves Town down for Benny. DJ Crab Hat gonna give us these boots checks, which we've already seen on Benny's side. I'm still betting on the flippers being in Turtle Rock. And is Benny gonna be... Looks like they are going towards Magic Bat. This could be really exciting. Because I feel like if the flippers are here, we've got a real race on our hands. A real interesting race. Not to say that it's not interesting if the flippers aren't here, but I kind of am just hoping to see what happens. And it's the flippers! Okay. Oops, okay. That was so intense that I have to reload this video here. Let me get that back to where we are. Oh my gosh. All right, awesome. And let me get the audio back. Okay, awesome. All right, so Benny, okay, we're back. So Benny getting the flippers out of Magic Bat now just needs to pick up the mitts from K45, which they're dashing towards right now, and then needs to pick up their hookshot from Purple Chest. And given that they have so few things, I'm liking their chances here. But Crab Hat is at Magic Bat. Against all odds, they managed to pick the right check. Okay, so both runners are going to get to go mode Turtle Rock here, as well as Ice Palace, and Swamp Palace, of course. Assuming that Benny doesn't dive into Swamp Palace without the hookshot, which I have to assume they're not going to. I'm a little bit worried for Benny and Wormasil. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a little bit worried that they'll just go to Ice Palace here or Turtle Rock. Oh, but they're not, because those are both clearable crystal dungeons for them, and for all they know, the hookshot could be there. But somehow they're stepping in this portal, which I think means, are these guys just psychics? Did they just know that this is the right decision to do Smith Chain here? They're going to grab the Smith, so they're doing exactly the right thing here. Okay, so Crab Hat needs to do Swamp Palace into what's it called? They need to do Swamp, they need to finish Ice, and then you need to do TR. And same thing for Benny once they get their hookshot. So Benny's gonna be a little bit behind in all this, and it's basically like at this point, from here on out, it's gonna be DJ Crab Hat's job to just maintain this lead, not have anything disastrous happen. We get to just go mode these 3 dungeons. So assuming everything goes all right, it's a little bit unfortunate because Benny only has access to the fighter sword, so that might slow them down. Like ideally, they're going to do Swamp Palace and then Ice Palace and then finish off with Turtle Rock. But that would also mean they would have to do Ice Palace and Swamp Palace with only a fighter sword, which is a little bit unfortunate. So the odds kind of really stacked against Benny and Wormasil here. Okay. And this is going to be turning in the purple chest for Benny. Oh, wait, what is... Okay. Yeah, buying a potion is okay. I was like, what is going on? Alright. Now it's time to turn the purple chest. Yeah, make sure you grab that purple chest. You don't want to leave it behind. Okay, and this is going to be go mode for Benny. They're going to be, unfortunately, they're going to be like almost the entirety of Swamp Palace behind. But DJ Crabhat is actually stopping to check more of these chests. I have to assume that they're looking for the silver arrows because they have everything else that they need. Unless I hope they're not still looking for. Yeah, I hope they're not still looking for. No, they have all 3 medallions, so even if they mismark something, they can't be looking for anything. Yeah, so I have to imagine they're just looking for silver arrows here. And Benny is deciding that they don't want to do. They don't want to do both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace with only a fighter sword, I guess. They're gonna go up the mountain instead. This is where, this is where 2 swords are. And they need to come up here to clear Turtle Rock anyways. It is gonna mean an extra trip up the mountain for Benny and Wormasil. Alright, Crabhat engaged in Mortal Kombat against Argus. Could be a pretty straightforward fight. Tempered Sword means you can just do a single slash for each puff here. And for phase 2, you can either, play it fancy with some rod strats, or you can just do 2 spins. Looks like we're going to go for just 2 spins, keep it simple. A nice and consistent, reliable 2-cycle there for Crabhat. And I guess Benny, the reason why Benny came up here is probably to verify that they are in go mode, because as far as they know, Turtle Rock could have been Ether or Quake. Yeah, so it makes perfect sense that they came up here to verify that they're in go mode, and this, of course, lets them confidently commit to go moding both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace. So it actually makes perfect sense that they're doing this. Looks like they are still going to elect to check for extra swords here, which is actually going to work out perfectly for them because there are 2 additional swords here. Yeah, there are some runners that would feel confident, going into Turtle Rock without access to additional swords, and hope to just find swords along the way in either Turtle Rock or one of the other dungeons. But this is going to work out for Benny, given that there are, I think, 2 swords lying in wait in Hookshot Cave. But Crabhat already done with Swamp Palace, heading into Ice Palace now. Is this too much of a lead for Benny to come back from? Alright, that's 1 sword for Benny, and I think the other one was here as well. This is also going to depend on how comfortable Benny feels with not having silvers, or how many checks that Crabhat decides to check, because they've been opening all these chests. They decided to open extra chests in Swamp Palace looking for the silver arrows. I wonder if they're going to do the same here in Ice Palace. Looks like, yeah, they're going to take the time to just continue clearing more of this dungeon. So I have to imagine this tells me that DJ Crabhat not necessarily confident in beating Ganon without the silver arrows, and if Benny is, this could actually be exactly what Benny needs to still be in this race. In which case, this could actually just come down to like where the silver arrows are. Like if silver arrows are just on the path, the sooner that DJ Crabhat finds the silver arrows, if they are on the path, the better it's going to be. But if the silver arrows are just nowhere convenient, like if they're just in Misery Mire or something, then Crabhat could just spend a lot of extra time looking for them and not have it pay off at all. Alright, Crabhat trying to set up for this icebreaker clip. In the meantime, Benny gonna be checking the first checks in Turtle Rock. Ooh, nice hookshot invincibility there. Choosing to mirror after the Firelocke side. I do believe it is slightly faster to get those 2 chests first and then mirror and then collect the compass chest. And okay, nice success on the icebreaker clip by DJ Crabhat. Okay, and but it needs to be only has 4.5 hearts. They do have blue mail, so they're not like going to be totally chunked down by these chain chomps, but this could still be a dangerous room. They do have a blue potion if they need it, but ideally they can save that for later. Okay, nice. It avoids getting hit at all by those chain chomps. I love to see it. And let's see, looks like, yeah, still one item left over in Ice Palace here. If it's in Ice Tea, that's kind of the worst case for Crab Hat if they want to go ahead and spend the extra time to get it. Oh, but they're not even choosing to... Okay, actually, I respect it. Not opening a freezer chest is actually kind of wise because it makes sure that it ensures that you have enough magic to use a fire rod. Although I guess they could have just used the Bombus medallion as well here. Okay. And Benny gonna be stealing the small key from Pokey there. And Crab Hat is entering their fight against Cold Stare. Gonna be using the Bombus Medallion. Okay, so gonna have plenty of magic left over for Fire Rod shots on the Puffs. Of course, each Fire Rod shot gonna be doing double the damage of a Tempered Sword spin, so you definitely want access to those if possible. Nice timing on that first spin slash. Unfortunately gets pegged by a falling icicle projectile, but not a big deal given that we have red mail. It just needs to chase down this last puff that didn't get hit by as many of the fire rod shots. Okay, so only Turtle Rock remains for DJ Crab Hat. And Benny still needs to go mode both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace. Looks like both runners are going to have to do at least some of the checks on Laser Bridge, given that we still need, we're still looking for a small key. And Crab Hat gonna be making their way over to Turtle Rock. Okay, so given that it's really important where the silver arrows are, obviously they can be at kind of anywhere in the game, given that they're not logically relevant anymore, since we already have a bow. They could definitely be in Ganon's Tower. I'm trying to think where are all the other places they can be. We still have one item left in Ice Palace. We still have, I guess, 3 checks left in Swamp Palace. We've still got Misery Mire. What else have we not seen yet? Pyramid Fairy, I guess, is something that we haven't seen. But I feel like odds are better than not that that the silver arrows are in Ganon's Tower. Yeah, they have to. It has to be pretty likely, I believe. Okay, DJ Crab Hat having some nice game knowledge, knowing that there is a fairy in that set of Bonkable Rocks, and nice Mario Dash by Benny there to trigger the crystal switch twice in that room. That is a very slick strat. Highly recommend learning that one if you don't know it already. Alright, and here's Trinex for Benny. Gonna be a pretty straightforward fight, given that we have access to the Tempered Sword, Phase 1, or Firehead going down without any problems, and Icehead follows suit. A little bit of ice on the ground, but no big deal, especially given that it's on the far right side of the room. I think DJ Crab Hat gonna gain a little bit of time here in Turtle Rock, just given the routing. I did mention that it is usually going to be faster to check the Fire Rod Lock side chest first, and then mirror. And just a single arrow on Trinex, so no silvers. Alright, so Benny needs to really hightail it to Swamp Palace and Ice Palace next. And hopefully gain a little bit of time, if they can. If they can skip all the chests in there. Hopefully Benny and Morbisil are feeling confident with taking down Ganon without any additional equipment. And we'll kind of see what the time difference is going into Ganon's Tower. But it's, yeah, quite a lead that Crab Hat has right now, but again, this all comes down to where are those silver arrows is DJ Crab Hat going to find them? And if not, is Crab Hat going to be comfortable with just trying the Silverless fight? Okay, Benny... Oh, unfortunately, he accidentally walks into Swamp Palace without mirroring. We've all done that. We've all done that. Even if we hate to admit it. Happens to the best of us. So I guess if I were to try and recap everything that's happened here in the Seed, really it was a story of Crab Hat making the very innocuous decision of going to do the 3 checks in Sahasrahla early, which allowed them to have the mirror when they went to the Dark World, which then let them have the Titan's Mitts when they went to check K45, which then led them to have the hook shot because they were able to do Smith Chain into Purple Chest. And that's basically the story of the Seed. I mean, there's various subplots that have happened since then, but that was basically the story of the Seed. Ooh, DJ Crab Hat accidentally going down the wrong pipe. Yeah, definitely gonna need that small key from the Pokey here. But that was definitely the story of the Seed. There were, yeah, like I said, various subplots, like both runners actually deciding to step into Pendant Eastern, and both runners finding the boots, which, as far as I know, were not required for this Seed, so definitely like something that could have gone very differently if our runners had made different decisions. Okay, and we'll see, does Benny know? It looks like, yeah, Benny's going to be able to gain some time here. Even if they open the chest here, I know DJ Crab Hat did not know how to do the, looks like they did not know how to do the diver down glitch here, which Benny is going to go for. Looks like they're going to go for a leftward bomb setup. And, okay, I was a little bit worried given that they were getting hit by that slime, but yeah, they're gonna just skip over these chests, which is going to work out for them given that we know there's no silver arrows or anything relevant here. So gaining some time back. And hopefully they'll take the same approach in Ice Palace. Ooh, DJ Crab Hat. Not quite stepping far enough for that blue boomerang. Okay. Benny is going to go into their fight with Argus. Hard to gain or lose too much time here unless you, know how to do the quick kill strat where you do an item dash with the boots, but haven't seen many mentees, go for that. That is a very difficult strat to really get into your muscle memory because it does require pretty precise timing. So just going for single slashes here, it's pretty expected. And looks like we're also going to just go for 2 spins here for phase 2. There's 1, and here's number 2. And here's DJ Crab Hat making use of that mirror shield here on Laser Bridge. So I guess Benny gonna be down not quite a full dungeon, given that by the time that DJ Crab Hat finishes taking down Trinex, Benny's already going to be partway through Ice Palace. But definitely still a lead, but not an insurmountable lead for DJ Crab Hat, especially given what we know about the fact that DJ Crab Hat is assumedly still looking for silver arrows if they can have them, if possible. Yeah, and Benny and Morbus just need to hightail it through this dungeon. Not stopping for anything. Okay, DJ Crab Hat into their fight with Trinex. Looks like pretty much the exact same RNG for when the Ice Head decided to shoot. Left a little bit more ice than it did for Benny, but... Okay, there is the Ice Head taken down. And Benny, yeah, is going to say no to Pengator Chest. I like this. This is exactly what Benny needs to do here. Okay, and yeah, taking advantage of the fact that when Trinex first emerges, Trinex's head is actually invulnerable. And then once the body segment starts flashing, that's when the vulnerability switches. I don't know why that happens. It's kind of an interesting little quirk of how Trinex is programmed, I guess. Alright, Benny needs to not waste too much time on this Icebreaker. Very nice. And yeah, just say no to all the chests here. Gain back as much time as you can. And DJ Crabhat is going to be heading over to GT at about the 1 hour and 24 minute mark. Looks like we're trying to set up a hook speed. Very nicely done by Crabhat. And yeah, Benny, opening the chest that is like kind of directly in the path. Yeah, I think you never know where it can be, and it's only like literally 2 seconds to open a chest that's you're hook shotting to anyways. And yeah, we're gonna get entry into GT a little bit after 1 hour and 24 minutes. You know, GT routing could also play a factor here if these two runners decide different GT routes. You can gain or lose, you know, like a minute. And that is certainly a significant factor if you gain or lose a minute here in a race like this. Okay, it looks like DJ Crabhat is going left first, so, you know, this does open the possibility of if the big key, you know, if we find the big key in Hope Room, that could be huge. Okay, but Benny is going to use the Boundless Medallion for Phase 1 of Cold Stare, just like DJ Crabhat. See if they can get this initial spin. Nice job on the timing. Choosing to be a little bit more conservative with their Fire Rod shots. Ooh, nice double hit there. Unfortunately misses that shot, but should be able to clean up this fight without too many problems. Yep, nice job. I think all in all, I'd say the Cold Stare fights were pretty similar for both these runners in terms of the time it ended up taking. Okay, and DJ Crabhat continuing to make their way down the left side of the GT basement. It's just a hunt for the big key at this point. And Benny is going to head over to GT as fast as they can. A nice boomerang strat by DJ Crabhat. And yeah, it's just been execution, you know, once you know, both of our runners have been in go mode for a while, so it's just a matter of like how fast can you do these rooms. And this is why, you know, pretty much all of our mentees, or pretty much all of our mentors really stress the importance of having a really clean and practiced Ganon's Tower basement and Ganon's Tower climb, because like it can really make a difference in these sorts of situations. Feeling confident versus not feeling confident with all of these rooms, and being able to gain time or lose time against an opponent. Yeah, and unfortunately, Benny, again, going to have to make this additional trip up the mountain due to how things worked out. So they're going to be, I guess, more than 2 minutes behind going into GT. I think we said DJ Crabhat was finishing TR at about the 1 hour 24 minute mark. But so far, no big key for DJ Crabhat, so we'll see where that big key is. If it is, you know, in Hope Room or in the Compass Room, that could be a pretty big opportunity for Benny. And also relevantly, we have not seen the Silver Arrows yet. So I can only guess, but I'm curious as to how DJ Crabhat and Coinchaser are feeling about that, given that they were looking for the Silver Arrows earlier. I guess they weren't opening every single chest, like they did choose to leave one item behind in Ice Palace, so maybe they don't consider the Silver Arrows to be necessarily a required item. Okay, but Benny is gonna go left here, at least for now. There's an option to mirror after the Stalfos room here. It looks like the big key is not behind Ars Armos either, so it's gonna be either in Hope Room, in the Compass Chest Room, or in Tile Room. And just like that, Benny is back in this race because they decided to take the route where they mirrored after Stalfos room. And just like that, folks, we have a race within one room of each other. Benny is literally behind one room of the GT climb. This is exciting. And like I said, these are exactly the situations where execution is really important, and DJ Crabhat getting a little bit caught up by that crystal switch. Okay, Benny gaining a little bit of time in that room. Less than a room of difference separates these runners. The Mimics are literally in the same place. And Benny takes the lead, going into Mimics 2. Okay, this can be a tricky room for some runners. Oh, Benny having a little bit of trouble with their strat, but Crabhat also having a little bit of trouble getting shot by the Beamos. Okay, Benny still makes it out ahead by a couple seconds. Okay, and Benny makes the clean dash all the way down, doesn't get hit by any of the spikes. And Crabhat, yeah, doing the slow walk down and unfortunately not having as good luck with the spikes. This lead is widening. Already up to 1.5 rooms that Benny is ahead. Oh, what an unfortunate fall in the cannonball room by DJ Crabhat. Okay, but anything could still happen. The gauntlet rooms are some of the toughest to execute well. These are rooms where they're heavily RNG dependent. Okay, DJ Crabhat deciding to use the Ether Medallion for that room. I do see a DJ Crabhat stopping to pick up a few more of these, extra arrows, extra hearts. I think Benny is taking the approach of just trying to go as fast as they can. Oh, accidentally gets spiked, but Benny having a little bit of trouble in this particular ice room. This room is one that, if it goes right, it can be okay, but once things start hitting you, they can kind of combo you. But we're still looking at about a 2-room difference between these runners. Oh, but not a very good start at all for Landmo 2 for Benny. Okay, still keep getting together, and Crabhat making it through that ice room with a little bit better luck than Benny. Is stopping to powder this anti-fairy. I think these are the times when you can actually see like how much stopping to powder a bunny beam, stopping to pick up an extra heart here, an extra magic refill there can actually matter when it comes to a tight race like this. Okay, DJ Crabhat. Oh no, not having a good cycle there. Okay, nice. Oh, very nice job on the Wizroad room by Benny. And, okay. Yeah, DJ Crabhat, I think losing some time on Landmo 2, unfortunately. Both runners picking up the small magic in the refill room. Oh, uh-oh. I don't think Benny has enough time to relight these torches. Yeah, he's going to have to reset the room. That is going to give DJ... Oh, and another fall! Benny, don't choke it here! Oh, and the mirror shield coming in clutch for DJ Crabhat, reflecting the beam from the Wizrobe. You love to see it. And this gap has just narrowed to a single room of difference separating these two. And anything could still happen here. Moldorm 2 falls. Both our runners... Oh, very nice by Benny, standing at just the edge there. Just the edge of that tile to have enough magic, because they did not have enough magic for a Fire Rod shot, so needed to use the torch. Really impressed with what I'm seeing on my screen here. Yeah, not enough magic for the powder, unfortunately. You gotta get your magic refill. Does walk around to get that, powder off, but... Can you really afford to do that in a race this close? Okay, both our runners did have falls against Moldorm, but it looks like Benny is going to take a clean Moldorm 2 fight. DJ Crabhat also opening this chest before Moldorm 2. Still no silver arrows, and that was our last chance for Benny and Mormasil. So it looks like we're going to be doing a silverless Ganon fight. Yeah, unless... Yeah, looks like we're going to be doing a silverless Ganon fight, which... You know, the difference between, you know, a good and a bad silverless Ganon fight is... can easily eclipse the difference between these two runner positions right now. Alright, Benny's on to Aga 2. These are not very friendly patterns. Ooh, nice try by Benny getting that one. Okay, I said it was not nice patterns, but I'd love to have that pattern every single day of the week. That's a free cripple if I've ever seen one. Okay, nice job finishing the fight out on Benny's side. And DJ Crab Hat, just an Aga 2 fight behind. Does look like this is going to be Benny's race to lose at this point. Just given some better, just given, you know, the choice of routing for GT Basement and a little bit of execution, you know, cleanup on a little bit of a faster execution on the first few rooms in the climb. Okay, but anything could happen on Ganon. It's going to be 12 hits for phase 1. Looks like we're going for a 2 cycle here. And I do believe we're on to phase 2 here. Our runners have some safeties, you know. Benny does have a blue potion on hand. But, you know, Benny doesn't have any invincibility items. They do have plenty of health, so they should be able to tank a couple hits and still be okay. This is a pretty awkward position to be in. Oh, I don't know if they wanted to hookshot to that torch there. Okay, and Crab Hat is going to start phase 1. Looks like Crab Hat also going for a 2 cycle here. Okay, yeah, Benny, you gotta decide whether to use your potion. Looks like they managed to stay safe from the fire bats. And Benny, halfway done with phase 3. I think DJ Crab Hat is going to be done with phase 2 once these fire bats are finished. Benny's stopping to drink a potion. DJ Crab Hat doing the same. Makes sense. It's definitely faster to use a potion than to be revived by a fairy. So you want to preemptively do that if you feel like you're in danger. And Benny's on to phase 4, getting these silverless spins. They should be able to get this unless something disastrous happens. Ooh, unfortunately, not counting the cycle there. Looks like the arrows were in Ice Palace. That's actually really unfortunate because DJ Crab Hat only left 1 item behind in Ice Palace. I wonder if that could have made the difference here. If they had just committed to finding silver arrows. Of course, they had no way of knowing. And, you know, the silver arrows could have been in Iced Tea in the worst case. But it's got to be a kind of an unfortunate feeling. Benny is really keeping on a good pace with these silverless hits. And they're pretty close to finishing. I have to imagine they're almost. Oh, Ganon is very close there. Okay. And that is gonna do it. DJ Crab Hat still on this fight. Probably not too far behind, honestly. But that is gonna be GG's for Benny, finishing with a time of 137.39. And a very close race between these two as DJ Crab Hat finishes phase 4 here with probably just a couple more spins. Come on, Crab Hat, you got this. Ooh, that was really nice. That was really close. And should be just 1 or 2 more hits, I believe. From Crab Hat here. Okay, yeah, I appreciate staying safe here. I'm actually going to use the Fire Rod. Yeah, you have got plenty of magic, so you might as well just throw it around. Nice job. And so our runner's going to be finishing less than basically 1 minute apart. You'll love to see it. And yeah, that was crazy seeing. That was definitely crazy seeing how close these two runners were. Given that for most of the seed, we were seeing DJ Crab Hat basically in the lead, having made that early trip to Saha, finding the mirror, finding the mitts, finding the hookshot, having all of that early progression, having the sword advantage, right, and bringing those swords to knock out Thieves Town and Skullwoods in one go. Made things a little bit interesting when Benny dug the boots out of Eastern Palace. But DJ Crab Hat decided to find those boots as well. And yeah, unfortunately for DJ Crab Hat not missing the vital silver arrows in Ice Palace, I do have to wonder what chest it was in. Because it could have been, we didn't see Freezer chest, we didn't see the big chest, and we didn't see Ice Tea. So it was one of those three. And if it was in Freezer chest, man, that could have easily been, you know, like a coin flip of a different decision if DJ Crab Hat just decided to fire out those two Freezers and then open the chest and then get the silver arrows. That definitely could have changed the outcome of this race, given how tight it was. But yeah, we saw, you know, GT routing made a huge difference, given that DJ Crab Hat just decided to do full left, and the big key was in Hope Room, and that's just going to happen sometimes. It's not like full left is a strictly inferior route. Like, it does get to all the chests on the left, you know, faster. It is a faster full clear than it is to do check Hope Room first and then go left to Ice Armos. But you know, each route has its advantages and disadvantages, and luck was in Benny's favor for this particular seed. You know, if it could have been a completely different story if the big key was in like randomizer room or behind Ice Armos, DJ Crab Hat would have probably had the victory here. Yeah, but that was really exciting to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this commentary as well. Again, I encourage you to give both of these runners a follow. I'll have links to both Benny's and DJ Crab Hat's Twitch channels in the description of this video. Again, this has been DDR Kirby ISQ, bringing you some commentary on this Swiss Week 3 match from the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2025 that happened, I believe, sometime last week. And we, as of the time of recording of this video, we are getting into weeks 5 and 6, which are the casual boots section of the tournament. So it's going to be really interesting seeing how our runners have leveled up their movement skills and their abilities with the boots on hand. So I'll definitely look forward to you know, casting over and giving some commentary for some of those matches as they happen. If you want to catch these matches live as they do happen, you definitely want to give a follow for the Go Mode Podcast Twitch channel and the Go Mode Podcast Discord channel. There are more and more of these mentee matches happening pretty much every day. So if you ever want to tune in and see what these mentees are up to, seeing how they are improving their skills throughout this tournament, there's a bunch of restreams happening as well on the Twitch channel. Highly recommend that you go and check all that out. That is going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and I will see you for the next one.